When someone is getting in your face, they're angry, they're feeling upset with you, it can take about 3 seconds for your nervous system to go into full fight or flight, and then you get totally dysregulated. Maybe they're yelling, maybe they're crying, maybe they're slamming doors and accusing you or following you from room to room. And your first instinct is either to match their intensity as a defense, or you try to make the intensity stop by acting calm. Now, either way, you're dysregulated. And the trouble is, acting calm is not the same as being calm. And people don't like fake calm. It's unsettling to them. Being calm actually requires that your nervous system is regulated. That like, I'm not upset. You're the one who's upset. I'm just so calm. It doesn't work, does it? In fact, it's gross. It's offensive. And it probably is going to make the other person be more emotional rather than find their regulation and get re-regulated. So the other thing, of course, that doesn't work is just calm down, or just, ma'am, calm down. That one always cracks me up. It's like the ultimate thing you can say to make a woman just get totally dysregulated. It feels false because while your words are pretending that you're above all this upset, your nervous system is communicating that you are very much in the upset. You are co-dysregulated with the other person, and you'll be perceived as controlling or holier than thou and fake. And unless you deal with that honestly, at least with yourself, it's only going to make things worse. And if it got worse, the other person might start saying things they'll later regret, but that leave a mark right now on you. And then it's just a matter of time before you're not calm at all. If you're trying to heal your past trauma so that you can live a happier and more fulfilling life, so much depends on staying regulated. But how do you do that when someone else is losing it? For a lot of people who grew up with yelling and criticism and emotional chaos, like me, this kind of situation still throws everything off. You can feel steady 1 minute, and then one harsh word or one glance, with some glare in it, pulls you right back into the storm. So maybe you go quiet, or maybe you get defensive or sarcastic, or you just start explaining, hoping logic will make it stop. But it never does. A lot of us in this situation are so desperate to avoid a big fight that we will do anything to calm things down, including pretend we're calm, with condescending language, a fake smile, and insistence that we're being the reasonable one. All right, so I'm just asking, has that ever worked for you? It hasn't. I bet it hasn't. It's fake. It's a trap. You can't reason with someone who's dysregulated. Their thinking brain is basically offline for a few minutes, but their emotional brain is amplified. This is the fight mode. And how they perceive you is that you think you're better than them and that you're trying to control them, and they don't like it. Nobody likes it. And you might get the urge to explain to them why they're wrong and they're not hearing you, so you can explain again and repeat yourself, this is why, this is why. And I just want you to check, how do you feel when someone just keeps saying the same thing over and over again in your face? It's overwhelming for both people. It's the equivalent of poking someone in the chest. It's triggering. It ignites trouble. So let's take a clear, practical look at what's really happening when you're dealing with an emotional person and what you can do to stop the ping-ponging trauma reaction before it gets momentum. Now, emotional people aren't a problem that you need to fix. They're people who, in the moment, have lost their self-regulation. The best thing you can do to help them calm down is not to act calm, not to match their intensity, not to say things you don't mean, but to re-regulate yourself. And you can do that in the moment in a way that helps them get re-regulated too. Yaha. Now, when you can do that, you change the entire dynamic from two people fighting to one person who's leading the situation back to sanity. So here are 5 steps that come straight from my work with people healing from dysregulation, steps that you can use the next time someone's emotions get big in your face. First, notice the moment your body reacts. You might feel heat in your face, your voice gets louder, or a sudden urge to fix or flee comes on. That's the signal. So stop talking when that happens and slow the conversation way, way down. Don't give them the silent treatment. Just stop saying so much. make a promise to yourself not to make big pronouncements or decisions like, I want a divorce, or packing a bag and leaving for a hotel. When people are dysregulated, thinking is distorted, and it may feel in the moment for you, because now you're dysregulated, that you don't care about preserving the relationship, but chances are that the feeling will pass and you'll regret making threats and saying harsh and hurtful things in the heat of the moment. There's only so many times you can do that to someone before connection shuts down forever. So unless you're in danger, your decision can wait until later when the intensity is past and your brain is able to feel the full reality of your relationship and see the choices available and find a way forward from a regulated place. So that way you're not making rash decisions, but you're still now two people who are dysregulated. So your next step is to lower the intensity. Avoid bombarding the other person with words or demands or questions. That can feel overwhelming to a dysregulated person. That's definitely one of my triggers. It's just coming really fast. I'll just I can't take it. So avoid forcing touch on people too. It can feel crowding. It can even feel threatening to some people. You can ask them if they want a hug or ask if they want to sit with you. You don't have to whisper or act calm, though. You can keep your voice steady and just say, I'm sure we can talk this through. If things are still boiling over, consider taking a little break in the conversation. But instead of saying, that's it, I can't take it anymore, use care with your language so that you don't unnecessarily trigger abandonment panic in the other person. This is very big. During an argument, part of us is fighting and trying to win. Part of us is feeling afraid that the relationship is getting destroyed. And this fear is running on the back burner there. You can calm that fear by addressing it directly. Okay, so you can say, I want to talk about this, but I need a break so I can calm myself. And so we're not yelling at each other. So did you hear that? I'm advising you to acknowledge that you need to calm yourself. They may need to calm themselves too, but that's going to have to be their decision. They will be a lot more likely to want to work on their side of things, and they'll be more likely to succeed at it too if you are calm and you are focusing on getting yourself there rather than blaming them and trying to make them calm down or threatening to run out of the room, as a way to get your break. Also, don't give them the silent treatment and don't make threats to cut them out of your life unless you actually intend to cut them out and you're ready to begin that now. Making threats about it is impulsive and, yes, I'm going to say it, it's manipulative. You can sometimes twist someone's arm into complying with what you want by threatening to leave them. But that's not going to lead to anything good down the line. So don't make threats you don't intend to carry out. It's a defensive impulse that's hard to come back from. If you really need to cut them out of your life and you're not in danger, don't do it while you're in inner chaos. It can wait until tomorrow when you're not overwhelmed with someone else's dysregulated emotions and your mind and heart are calm and you're more in touch with the truth of how you feel. When you do take a break, let them know you do want to listen to them. Take responsibility that this is for you to calm down. Don't use abandoning language, and do give a clear time for when you propose to come back to continue the conversation. Let them consent to this time that you both agree to come back to, or work out a time that works for both of you. I'm talking about 10 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour. You can do more, but more time is likely to trigger frustrations and feelings of abandonment, and that can tend to kind of flare up the whole conflict again. So if you can get very good at re-regulating quickly, you can come back together sooner. While you take your break, don't just brood and look at your phone. Use your tools to re-regulate. And if you don't know how to do that, I want you to download my free PDF called Emergency Measures to Re-regulate. Yeah, it's very simple. It's a list. I'll put that down in the description section. It's free. You can keep this with you so my tips are easy to remember, and then you can use them. I urge you, when you take your break, use your tools. Don't just, waste the time. You want to be able to come back with a different energy when you said you would. And, if you're not ready, tell them in the kindest, most reassuring way you can. You know what? I'm not quite ready to come back. Can I have this much more time? Yes, no? Okay, yes. All right, great. And then come back. Always reassuring them, I do want to hear you. I do want to work this out. And that reassuring language is so much more likely to get them to feel cooperative rather than combative. When you've lived through trauma, you can mistake other people's emotions for danger. Even normal frustration can feel like the beginning of a catastrophe. And that's what dysregulation does. It blurs the line between what's happening now and what used to happen in the past. But once you learn to recognize the signs, the racing thoughts, the urge to attack or escape, you realize you have a choice. You can re-regulate and stay present instead of repeating the old patterns. And if you need practice with that, I have a very short, sweet online course that you can access right away called Dysregulation Bootcamp. And I'll put that in the second row of the description section right underneath this video. When you can do that, you can start changing every relationship in your life, not by controlling other people, but by managing yourself. And that steadiness is how trust gets built, or how it gets rebuilt. And if you're the one who sometimes gets loud or reactive, this applies to you too. The people around you will feel safer when you can pause, take responsibility for your reactions, and come back to the conversation regulated. Whoo! That's how you do it. That's how love actually starts to feel safe, and how it can finally last. If you like this video, I've got one that you're going to love right here, and I'll see you very soon. And it's hard to perceive accurately what's going on in those moments. Like, what just happened? What's the actual problem? Is it me? Is it the other person? What am I supposed to say?